Good morning, friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. It's a very fun day today. We are going to be planting more David Austin roses in the garden. Yes, I know I said I was done a couple of years ago, but that's just a lie I tell myself. And so here we are today. We are going to plant two different types of bare root roses from David Austin, one here at the chicken coop, one climbing red rose. So excited about this. And then we're going to head down to the patio area and we're going to plant 6 of the same Roald Dahl to make this mass planting that is going to be absolutely stunning. So if you've never planted bare root roses before, I'm going to walk you through, show you exactly how to plant bare root roses. That is how I prefer to get my David Austins. People will ask all the time, do we sell David Austins? We don't. Honestly, their selection is so massive and so vast. I would not even have a clue where to begin on what to offer our customers for David Austins. So I just send everybody straight to the David Austin website. They might still have some that you can check out. The beautiful thing is that I order them in late summer, early fall. And then they don't send them to me until it's appropriate for my growing zone. Of course, I am in North Carolina, a zone 8A. Here we are, middle of March. They actually arrived on Friday, late afternoon. Today is Monday. I just kept them in a nice, cool, dry space, actually in the garage. They come nice and boxed up in a plastic bag. So I just kept them there and then we are planting them today. So without further ado, let's get going because there is a lot to be done and I cannot wait to get these babies in the ground. So what we're going to do up here at the chicken coop, we are just going to be adding one. Of course, this is our sweet chicken coop with our little girls in there. We just call them the girls. And I have always wanted like a climbing red rose. So when I decided that I was going to kind of revamp my roses down by the patio, I said this is the perfect opportunity. So what we have is we are going to plant Tess of the D'Urbervilles right here in the middle of this panel. So I'm going to have to take out this Ascot Rainbow. Not a problem. It is one of my favorite perennials. So we're going to take it out so that we can plant that bare root rose right there. Everything else should be fine for right now. I think I can plant around it because the roots are not too big. So let me come over here. When you get your David Austins, your bare roots that you're going to be planting, they give you great step-by-step instructions on what you are supposed to be doing. And step 1 is that you need to soak the bare root in water for a minimum of 2 hours. So I got up nice and early this morning, came out here, filled up a bucket, submerged it all the way down till you have those roots in the water. You can have a little bit of the stems in there, it's okay. There's no need to submerge the whole thing. You're trying to rehydrate those roots. Now Tess is different because she is grown on her own rootstock. The vast majority of the David Austins are grafted onto different rootstock, but Tess is on her own rootstock. So she's been hanging out here in the water and getting nice and rehydrated. So what I need to do first is I need to dig up the Ascot Rainbow and I'm going to go ahead and directly plant it. It's not going far. It's just coming right across the pathway. And I'm going to add it in here. I have more of the Ascot Rainbows on the front side of the chicken coop. So when it's time to take out these fall, winter, early spring annuals and put in my summer annuals, then I will take those Ascot Rainbows and add them to this same spot. So I will have a mass planting of the Ascot Rainbow. Such a fun, unique perennial. It's mainly for the foliage. It's getting ready. It's putting on some little buds. But like I said, it is mostly grown for the foliage. Beautiful evergreen. Does great in the full sun. Easy peasy. Love it. So I'm going to dig it up with my shovel. And then I've got my auger. So we're going to use the auger, the biotone, of course, plop it in the ground. Then we're going to come back here and I'm going to walk you through how to plant the bare root roses. All right, my friends, it was as easy as that. Ascot Rainbow popped right out of the garden bed with my shovel, got the 9-inch auger, dug me a nice lovely hole. Of course, as you can see, I have great Carolina red clay up here. This is by far like the worst soil we have on our property. So I did not amend the hole. I just simply put biotone in there, put the plant straight in there, got her nice and snugged in there, put the native soil back, and then top dress with the compost. That way it still gets all those great nutrients. It still has the nutrients that will leach down into the ground. It is amending the soil over time, but I'm not necessarily changing the conditions of that native soil in the hole. I want the Ascot Rainbow has got to get used to being in the red clay. They actually do really well in the red clay, and those roots are going to go out into that native soil, be just fine. And then of course, the compost with the nutrients, and it helps retain moisture because nothing up here is on irrigation. So Ascot Rainbow is in. She should not even know that she got moved. We had tons of rain yesterday, so Ascot Rainbow was wet. The soil is wet. The compost was actually damp, so I don't need to add more water to it. Again, red clay holds onto that water, so we are good to go. Now we're gonna move back to Tess and get her in the ground. All right, my friends, now I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you right now that this is an extremely challenging spot to film so I can show you this. So I'm gonna do my absolute best to show you how we're gonna do it. Once we move on down to the Rhubarb dolls, it'll be a little bit easier to get a better up close shot of what I'm doing. Now, I am gonna plant Tess here in the middle. Tess is like a short climber in the fact it only really gets to be about 8 feet tall, which will be perfect. It's going to fill up at maturity and just kiss the top of the roof here at the chicken coop. So I didn't want anything too massive. I'm going to plant it as close as I can to the chicken coop because roses, even climbing roses, they don't twine. They just simply have really long canes. So I'm gonna have to attach the rose to the chicken coop, which is perfect because I have the chicken coop wire right here, so I don't have to add any structure for it to climb. If I was putting it somewhere else, then I would need to have an obelisk, an arch, something to make it attached to be that climber. Tess is going to be hardy in zones 4 to 11. Like I said, beautiful repeat flowers that has those really dark red blooms on it, has an old rose fragrance, which is my personal fragrance. Yeah, it's going to be a full sun spot because the sun comes up behind me and then sets over here kind of over my left shoulder. So it will absolutely get a minimum of 6 hours, if not more. Nice, intense sun. So what we're going to do is we're following the David Austin's, planting guide. I am not going to be using my auger right here for the simple fact of because we are at the chicken coop and we have a predator guard underneath that runs about 3 feet from the chicken coop. So what is a predator guard? A predator guard is that traditional chicken wire that is attached to the base of the chicken coop, and underground it comes out. So that way if we have foxes, dogs, coyotes, raccoons, possums, whatever, they cannot dig their way in. That means I cannot take my auger and drill a nice big deep hole because I'm going to hit that chicken wire and make an absolute horrid mess. So I've got my hoary. Like I told you, we just had a ton of rain. And so this is lovely, nice, loose, really well amended soil because this is always has been an annual bed for me. So I always add beautiful, rich, organic, rich soil to it. Down here, I am hitting the clay. Now, you may say, well, Jenny, you just said that there's chicken wire under there. Why in the world are you putting a rose on top of chicken wire? Well, the chicken wire has nice big holes in it. These roots are going to go right through that and be perfectly fine. She is not going to care that there is chicken wire down there. Trust me. And I don't have any plans on moving her at all. So I want to get my hole nice and deep. This particular bare root is not that big. The structure of it is not that big. You'll see some of my David Austins are quite large. Now, when we are burying this, they recommend David Austin's, they don't recommend, they're telling you to bury it about 2 inches below the soil line. So where I have all these roots, then we're going to go about 2 inches and get it buried nice and deep. So you want to decide which way you want it to grow. So since I am going to be having it climb, I'm going to have it have basically 2 nice canes coming up. They're kind of pointed in the back direction. And then this cane is going off to the side. So what I'm going to do is this is the position that I'm going to put it in. We're going to see how close I am to the chicken coop. And another thing is you've got all these beautiful roots. They are now rehydrated and pretty pliable. So you can move them around because this one is definitely a big one and it's going in the wrong direction as far as for me to get it up close to the coop. There we go. All right, so you're gonna have to finagle it and hold it just a little bit because as soon as you let go, it pops out of place. Take your biotone. You want that beautiful mycorrhiza. I like to leave the bare root in the hole while I pour the biotone on it so it gets on top of the roots. And then what we're gonna do is just get it in there and you're gonna have to hold it in place because it's going to want to naturally pop up because of those roots. Get in here, and again, I promise I will show you a better shot once we get to Ruwald. All your David Austins, they're going to come with a tag attached to it. I'm going to go ahead and take it off so that way the cane doesn't get strangled. Whew, if I don't cut myself. There we go. Take that off, save it, put it in your garden journal so you remember what you got. Just going to bring all that soil back, that native soil all around it, and get it really packed in. That way she's nice and secure and she's not wobbly. Something to keep in mind is roses love compost. They love really organically rich soil. This is really good because, like I said, we amend it all the time with our annuals. However, I am still going to take some Land and Sea and I'm going to top dress because one can never have too much compost around their roses. So whatever your preferred compost is, that is a great one. Just make sure that it is really well composted. You don't want to put anything fresh and hot on your roses. I've got a chicken that's very interested in what I am doing here. I know. You want some mustard? Yeah? Can you get it? Yeah. Here, let's do it this way. Can you pull it? Yeah. Oh, get it? Yeah. Pull it through. Good girls. Once you've got your rose in the ground, you've got the compost around it. I will do mulch down at Ruwald Dahl. Not going to do it here for now. Trust me, it will stay nice and damp. We will come back once we do the summer annuals. Then we'll put some mulch around it to help retain that moisture because, again, nothing is on irrigation right here. I have to hand water it. So I have got my water left over from when I was soaking her. So I will pour that around. Again, the ground is really wet, but hey, we just transplanted it. So let's give her a dose of water. Then I will show you kind of more of an up close shot of what it looks like in the ground with that bare root coming out. All right, my friends, let's take a close look at Tess of D'Urberville's, and you can see nice and snugged down in there. Got her nice and watered. Of course, when she came to me, you can see that new growth, that red is already popping out. I suspect that she will grow really, really well and start putting on some new growth pretty quickly because we are having some lovely spring-like weather here in North Carolina. As it grows, I will attach it to the chicken coop. The girls are going to love it. Yes, roses are edible, so they will be just fine. If they decide to nibble on Tess, it will not be a problem whatsoever. So very, very excited to see how that is going to do. Jackson just pulled up, so he is helping me gathering some of my supplies that we need for the Rualds. So we're gonna head down there and get 6 of those in the ground. So we are down here where the 6 Ruald dolls are going to go. Went ahead and just smoothed out the holes where the existing roses had been. Remember, we did have 3 of the Susan Williams Ellis, gave those away to a customer. We had 3 of the Poet's Wife. We just moved those to the backyard bed to have those showcased there. And here we're going to add those 6 Rualds. I already have 3 right here. I want to create a massive hedge of the same rose. That is what I am working towards and kind of redesigning, tweaking my flower beds, is to have more uniformity and cohesiveness and big blocks of the same color instead of little patches of different color. I want to have that nice big blocks of the same plant. So that is why I went ahead and got 6 more of the same rose. So we're gonna have a total of 9 of these same roses right here. Follow the directions and the guidance of the folks at David Austin when you're trying to create that nice big massive hedge look. So these are the 3 that are existing. They're spaced out about 18 inches apart from one another. And so that's basically what I did with my holes here. Essentially, these are the exact same placements as what the roses were before. And so just go in there and just aug that hole. Now, also, I went ahead and top dressed, before I drilled my holes, top dressed with the land and sea. Because, again, I have red clay soil. I need to amend. Now, this is a great way to amend a large area. Before you drill your holes, before you dig your holes, spread that compost in the whole section that you're going to be planting in. Then go ahead and dig, drill your holes. As you're working in that soil and drilling your holes, digging your holes, that compost gets added in. It is nice and evenly mixed in with my native soil. So what we're gonna do is, I have my tub right here of the bare root roses. Again, they've been soaking for 2+ hours. And you can see, probably if I can get them out, they're kind of twisted amongst each other here. This is significantly bigger than Tess. Now, again, Tess was on her own rootstock. Ruald, like most of David Austin's, are grafted onto a stronger rootstock. They do this to improve disease resistance, drought tolerance, all of that great stuff. So you get a really strong root system from one rose, but you get the color and the habit off of another rose. So we want to make sure, again, I can't emphasize this enough, that we bury this. This is where the graft is. We need to go 2 inches above that and make sure it is below the soil line. So you can tell it just has a very different look than what Tess did. Very, very strong, vigorous, beautiful root system on these guys. So, and again, already have some new growth popping out on them. Put everybody in a hole. I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle biotone on everybody, and then I'm gonna show you an up close of how we're gonna plant them. Okay, so I have intentionally zoomed the camera in to have the shot of these 3 bare roses. Now, what we have done, of course, nice deep hole with the auger, nice loose, well-tilled soil, at least that is for compact clay. Then the biotone, I sprinkle it on the roots and in the hole all at the same time. we are going to take this baby. Do not, again, be afraid to bend your roots some. Now, you gotta be careful. You can't just take them and, you know, bend them too strong or they'll snap. But we wanna get this nice and below the soil level. If I need to dig out a little bit, because this is nice and tilty, pull this out a little bit and get this guy snugged in. Hold with one hand while you get the roots all nice and tucked down in there, deep down in the hole. Then bring back your soil, packing as you go. You want that soil in the contact with all your roots. We don't want any air pockets in there. We're going to build in that soil and compact. Now, those of you that watch us on a regular basis, you may notice that I am not using my Rose Gauntlet gloves because a couple of reasons. One, they're nice and small and I'm holding them by the roots, so they're not really poking me. Rhubarb is not a very thorny rose, so that's always helpful. And then two, I'm really digging in the dirt. And these nitrile gloves are fantastic because they protect your hands, they keep them clean. I am notorious, if I don't wear gloves, I always get cuts on my hand. So I always wear gloves, have done it for years and years and years and years. Love these. These are great to use in these situations as opposed to my rose gloves because they're filthy, they're dirty. I can just throw them in the wash machine, let them air dry, and they are good to go. And they're not so thick and bulky that you can't feel what you're doing. All right, so this guy is in. Now, we are gonna come back and top dress with both some more Land and Sea and some of the Daddy Pete mulch. All right, get these two belts in the ground. Okay, my friends, so all 6 David Austin Rural dolls are planted, composted, mulched, irrigation laid around them, and watered in. Yahoo! It is a great feeling to get those done. So let me show you exactly how they look. They're lovely little sticks coming up out of the ground. But yeah, there you go. Before you know it, we're gonna have beautiful foliage on them, just like their counterparts to the left. But this is gonna be such a fun, glorious area, bringing all of that nice consistency across the board. Those rhubards, of course, known, they got the name right from the author with, they did James and the Giant Peach, because the flower on this rose is that beautiful peachy color that, y'all, the fragrance, oh my gosh, this is when I wish we had smell-o-vision, because that, when they're in bloom, to just give you that fragrance, the entire garden is going to smell like them. Last year, in my opinion, it was the strongest fragrance out of the 3 that I had here. Poet's Wife would have been next, so that'll be fun to have her down in the backyard bed. But I could just having 3 of the roses right here was an intoxicating fragrance. I can't imagine now having 9 of them. It is going to be great. So again, planting them close to each other because I want that hedge look. And so that is definitely going to give it to me. Just to kind of give you a perspective of other things that are in the bed. These little guys right here, those are my Globe Master Alliums. Had some left over from the signature garden, and so plopped them in here. Y'all, they love this spot. They are all popping up and looking great. Technically, they should be a perennial for me. So I will not dig these up, as are my anemones and my little daffodils that are here. So all of those bulbs will be perennials for me. And so what I can do is that the Globe Masters, of course, will be up and getting height on them even when it's time for me to plant my annuals in here. And so I can plant the annuals around the Globe Masters, and then once the Globe Masters are done and they're finished, then let the foliage die back naturally, and then the annuals will hide that. So in my head, at least, it's going to be a spectacular display. Also, to give you a little update back here, this is my Bloomerang dark purple lilac, y'all. Flushing out big time. She is going to be covered in buds. I cannot wait for her just to absolutely live her best life, and again, give us tons of fragrance here in the garden. About 2 weeks ago, I went ahead and trimmed my tea olives. Nothing spectacular there, y'all. Just shape them up. Took off the height, made them relatively all the same size. Again, growing those as a nice evergreen hedge to kind of hide the old chicken coop, now the garden shed right there. Give us a little privacy, nook this in. But there is a lot of things happening here. We are in like full bloom. The cherry tree has lost all of her flowers, just about, but she has green leaves. Oh my gosh, so stinking exciting. So of course, tulips over there going nuts. But we're going to do a whole garden tour for the, end of March here, because the tulips are popping up, the daffodils, the forsythias. I mean, everything is waking up. Even my panicle hydrangeas are starting to have green growth on them. That has just happened here, like within the last 24 hours. I swear they weren't here yesterday, and now they are popping up. I was looking at my Incrediballs, don't see much of anything over there. The doozies are waking up. So much is waking up around here. The garden boxes, y'all, with the mix of tulips and daffodils we put in there, they are beginning to bloom. Oh, we have our first blooms at the signature garden. So excited. So stay tuned either tomorrow or the next day for that big, huge, massive garden tour. Oh my gosh, it is a great time to be a gardener. Love it. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. If you are going to be one of those people that are going to be planting roses, bare root roses, it's not as hard as it may seem. It should not be as intimidating. Hopefully I've taken some of that out for you. So if you have found this informative, inspirational, and yes, even a little bit of fun, we would love it if you would like and subscribe to Gardening with Creekside. That way you don't miss our 5 videos that come out every week. Y'all have an amazing day. We're going to see you next time. Bye, friends.